For all my folks, this is somewhat what consistency look like. I think this is what 2.5, 3 weeks in, and you are tuned into another episode of Chopping Up with Q podcast. It's me, Q, and I got my big sis on the line. What's up?
DJ, and I'm here, and I think you're right. We are actually on time recording, and we may have episodes out 2 consecutive weeks.
Yeah, it was so funny. I had to hit my Kesey finally hit me up from the X Squad. Shout out. Y'all make sure to follow them. A whole group of podcasts.
Follow the
they
X
got some
Squad.
stuff going.
Kicking it with Kesey. That's a live show on Thursdays. Check them out.
I commend anybody who does a live show because just one, you trust all your content. Like, you just coming in off rip. You like, you know what? Whatever sticks. That's what we finna do. I mean, we used to do that, but
we could do live.
I mean, live ain't cool. You just gotta, it's actually
we're gonna get our YouTube blog going.
Hey man, look. You know what? We probably could because YouTube is saturated with all kind of irrelevant stuff. But hey, we could do it.
I mean, either that, or I can start pimping you out on OnlyFans, and that also would work.
You know what? Let me talk it over with the missus. I'm sure if I tell her it's a business move, she might let me. As long as I don't have to commit to it.
Well, tell her that I'll split the proceeds with her 50-50. Well, 60-40 really. I'll let you keep 60. I'll let the two of y'all keep 60, and I'll just keep 40.
The bad thing is I think she would actually go because she's actually attempted to pimp me out before. So, I mean.
Because she's a real ass nigga. Real ass bitch give a fuck about a nigga. Except for, her husband.
I'm like, damn, don't my feelings count? Don't I get a say so in all of this?
I mean, we could give you a say so, but then you would say no. And so I feel like in this instance, you don't get a say so.
I don't know, man. Obviously, a career choice now is just pulling hair and rubbing asses. So I mean, you ain't even got to give. You realize massages ain't even massages no more. It's just an excuse to rub on folks. But
well, see, here's the thing with men. That has been y'all's excuse to rub on folks since the beginning of time.
This is true.
I mean, I'm just saying because I bet if we do a poll as per usual, if I do a poll on Wednesday. We will get a lot of people. I just put a poll and I said, ladies, how many times has a man offered to give you a massage and it was really a massage?
Look, there's plenty of times when my old lady said, hey, my feet hurt, and I rub her ass. All right, cool, I got you.
Okay, but did that make her feet feel better?
I think so. I don't know.
Did you ask?
I did not.
Did rubbing her ass make her feet feel better?
Yeah, see, so yeah, we're gonna throw some signs because the whole body is like a kinetic chain. So if I maybe start up top above the issue, then maybe, just maybe, it may affect her feet.
See, and this is why we don't ever believe anything the men say. Because if I say my feet hurt, and you're like, I got you, boo. I'm gonna rub your feet later, and then somehow the rubbing starts in like my titties. That's not.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
I asked for.
I'm
just saying, but why couldn't y'all be like more stealthy with it? Like, I get that the massage, quote unquote massage, obviously is gonna not be in the correct place, but why not like start at the feet and like work your way up to the ass?
See, it's too much work, man, because you gotta realize the distance between the feet and the titties, that's a long way. So maybe I gotta go from there to the calf to the thigh. And, if I, once I get to the
you might
regions,
have to actually give a real massage. You don't want to do that.
You're right. I'm just saying, we just jump straight into it. Look, it's no games, no nothing. Y'all already know why I'm here.
I hate it. I don't like it.
But what's been up, though, man? It's been, a couple weeks. Anything new? What's good?
Well, I went to, Pod Excellence Weekend in Charlotte.
All right.
I don't think we talked about that.
Shout out to Nick and Miss Jackie.
Yeah.
Only Miss Jackie if you're nasty, but you go ahead.
Miss Jackie if you're nasty. Miss Nicole Banks. Miss Nicole Banks. She has been doing this. I think this is the 3rd or 4th year that they've done Pod Connections. I think last year was in Atlanta. This year is in Charlotte. She's already announced next year is in Miami. So she's doing big things. Looks like it's only going to be bigger and better next year. So shout out to her. putting on a good event and having all of us out, Charlotte, where she's currently living, for the weekend, and being an excellent host. It was nice to meet a bunch of people that I have not met before, and I think that was really the cool thing about Pod Connection, because what I will say about kind of like the black indie podcasting is that you kind of, I wouldn't say it's like cliques per se, but I think there's just kind of, certain podcasts that kind of fuck with each other more than others. I think it's just kind of geographically too. Mm-hmm. So what I thought was really dope about Pod Connection is that there were a lot of podcasts there that I really had never listened to, didn't really know anything about, and I think they were more local to Charlotte. There was an overwhelming amount of podcasts from Detroit, Michigan, which I thought was cool. It was super dope. Detroit the building. So, I mean, it was just nice to kind of meet some other creatives that I kind of have not ran into. Maybe they're not as big on Twitter, or maybe I just wasn't as familiar with their Twitter or IG handles to kind of follow their content. So that was really nice. Shout out to the Connected Experience out of Michigan, who actually won Podcast of the Year. And I think it's two brothers, and I really have not listened to any of their content, but I'm going to give them a spin this weekend while I'm on the plane, because I will actually be in Detroit this weekend.
See, look, boy, hey, V out here, hold, man. She be out here playing with y'all. V out here, a secret millionaire. We just don't know about it.
Oh, yes, quit touching me, pores. Peasants. No. Listen, Priceline Express deals are some good shit, man. I don't know what to tell y'all. Listen, if you got some time on your hands, you got a window where you can fly, you aren't really tripping about what time you get there and what time you leave, Priceline got some good deals.
Hey, that's a word. You know what?
I'm thrifty. We all know I ass broke. I'm just a thrifty ass bitch. Listen.
Hey, it's all about finding. You know what? It's actually funny. So I work with, just to give people an idea, I work with a bunch of engineers. And, me and one of my homeboys, we actually, we chop it up at the gym and every so often. And we've already discussed this. When you get a certain age, there's certain things you just don't really go after no more. Only buy clothes if it's on clearance. I'm just saying, Marshalls and Ross is my spot. I'm sorry.
I do enjoy a good sale.
Look, I was proud of myself. I went and bought a polo shirt, and it was every bit of $16. And I said, you know what? I will.
See, and I'm not mad at that. And I think people always do this thing where you got to, but I've always been that way. Like, I tell people, like, I get nice stuff, but I'm a sales shopper to my heart, and that is like my favorite thing. And somebody's like, I don't know if that is a Southern thing or is it just a thrifty person thing, but that is my favorite pastime. The two things in life that I live for is the motherfucker being like, hey girl, your sweater's cute. Where'd you get it? Oh my God, I got it at Goodwill for $3. Isn't it cute? Like, that's my favorite thing. That, or when somebody's like, I like your dress, it's pretty, and I'm like, oh my God, it has pockets. My two favorite things in the world. Telling somebody I got some shit half price or on sale, and telling them my dress is half pockets. Two favorite things in life. Right under Hot Wheels.
There was one cat at work. He was like, "Hey man, I'm digging those all white Nikes, man. Where you get those? Hey, $50 because they were half off in Macy's. Because Macy's for some reason, I guess Finish Line and Macy's got a little thing going on, and so they had some Air Max, and it's kind of fly. I was like, okay, all white and black. I was like, all right, cool. And it was bad because I was like, yeah, they only $50, but I'm even contemplating if I want to spend that. That's terrible, I know.
No, I don't think that it is, honestly, because I'm the same way with shoes. I feel like, even with like Nike.com, they'll have decent sales on stuff, but I'm obsessed with getting the best deal. And Macy's, honestly, for those of you who don't have Macy's where you live, and people like, oh, department store, blah, Macy's has really good sales on shit. Like, I do not, they rebranded a few years ago, and it was kind of about bargains and sales. They really have excellent deals on name brand clothing, some of these higher end brands where they have stuff that's like, because they have a lot of like partnerships with these companies where it's like, okay, well, these items are made specifically for Macy's. Mm-hmm. So they're not necessarily as high in prices as would be other places. Like, I got some really, really good deals on shit at Macy's. And people sleep on them, but like, listen, they have good shit. And honestly, I don't think it's any more expensive than like a Marshalls or a TJ Maxx to catch them on the right day.
No, not. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things you correct. When you got to start buying for little people or kids, that's when kind of your whole mindset of how you spend kind of change up.
No, I mean, I agree. And I mean, of course, our listeners know I don't have any children. I just have, my
Yeah, you
my
got
God
god kids
babies,
and shit.
my God babies. But yeah, but I think that's totally the case, right? Like I think when you have other people to buy for, you kind of what you want takes a back burner, and then you're like, I really have to maximize my dollars because you want them to have nice things. So you having nice things kind of was like, okay, well, what is the cheapest nice thing I can have?
There you go.
Unless you're rich, then of course everybody can have nice things. But
nah, see, I don't know. I think even if I was rich, I'd be cheapest rich dude ever.
I think we all say that, but statistically, they say that when you make more money, you spend more money, right? Because you feel like you can afford to spend it.
You know what? I hear that, and I make more money, and I'm still pissed at it when I have to spend it.
And I agree with that because which I think for me that was my thing. I went from making not really a lot of money at my old job to this job making a fair amount of money, not like a lot, but a fair amount. And so for me, it was like, okay, I can afford to do these things that I had been able to afford to do. But after maybe the first couple months, I was like, okay, I really need to kind of rein in my spending and make sure that I'm not necessarily trying to not live outside of my means per se, but just make sure that I'm still kind of budgeting and making allocations to be able to save and those types of things, and not being like, okay, I have extra income to throw up. So that was the hard lesson for me. Just figure out, like, okay, girl, you make more money, but also, like, don't get crazy and just make a bunch of bills.
Nah, I'm good, man. Hey, look, it's easy if I got it, I can lose it. That's how I look at it. But nah, man. I mean, hey, but I mean, it was kind of an exciting weekend for your boy found out he came through with a cut, so I gotta I'm technically gonna officially have all breeds of human.
Oh, I just can't wait for the day when you like hop on the podcast and tell me you genetically engineered like a third breed of human where they're not a boy or a girl, it's just like something else.
They're just here.
Right. And I say that and I do not mean trans people or people that are transitioning or transgender. So before anybody interprets that, like I'm not saying like he's gonna genetically engineer a trans person. Yeah, I'm saying he's gonna make some hybrid of boy and girl and or male and female sex, and it's just gonna be some crazy genetic shit. They're gonna have like one titty and a penis. Like, I'm just saying.
That sounds interesting. See, the bad thing is this is terrible because as soon as you said that, I was like, "Ooh, we got a new porn category, other."
I enjoy a new porn category. So here's the thing. Like I think, right, we talked about this before, but you definitely judge people on what their go-to porn categories are, right? I feel like that's a first date question. Like I gotta know.
Should be. You should ask that. Like I know people probably find that weird, but yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, I think it is because I just feel like if I ask you what your porn categories are and you tell me something crazy like I like to watch men fucking giraffes, I'm gonna know something's weird with you and be like, okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and pay my part of the check.
I think the weirdest category I ran into, and I still can't fathom it, is that there's videos where women are just farting. I don't know if it's pussy farts or ass farts, and either way, I'm like, why is that just arousing? Like, they just sitting there just blowing ass gas. I was like, why is this a thing?
I mean, because there's a thing for everybody, right? So I can't even knock it like it's gross, but it's like there's a thing for everybody, right?
And you know what?
I think my weirdest one was the lesbians, but they're like scissoring, but they're scissoring with their underwear on. So then they always wear gray underwear so you can like see the wet spot. It's so odd.
Why? Like, why is this?
I don't get what's sexy about it at all.
And you know what? Look, I tell people this. I use the term weird, and that's not normal for me. Not saying that that's not your get down. You know what? Do whatever pops off. That's how I look at it.
Right.
But I just find it hard. Like I couldn't just rub one out to a chick just farting. I'm like, I don't see the appeal in this. But to each his own.
Yeah, that would be kind of strange. I get you. That would be definitely weird.
Oh man, but yeah. See, it's actually funny that with all this stuff going, because I'm thinking about, okay, I got a boy coming. How do I raise this little nigga? It's like, because I'm thinking about like, damn, all the speeches and the talks and everything I'm gonna have with him coming up, and he not gonna get half of it. Because I mean, I try to do that now with the girls, and they like, daddy, we ain't at that time no more. It's like, nah, you gonna be there, but you'll hear me later.
I think we all do that thing where we don't want to be our parents, but then you realize that parenting is just parenting, right? Like, you don't want to be your parents, but unfortunately, it's just easier to parent your kids in the style you were raised. Now, obviously, there's some extremes where you're like, okay, that's not going to be me as a parent, and you actively work to not be that kind of parent. But I think for the smaller things, like, you find yourself saying to me, like, oh my God, I'm my parent.
I think with this one, I'm worried about what is social media going to look like, 15 years from now. Like, that's the stuff you never really think about. It's like, okay, when they turn 15, 16, social media comes out. How do you protect them within that, you know, within that?
I mean, I think you just kind of, I always tell people when we discuss, on the podcast, I think we are kind of that generation of parents that is tech savvy. We remember what it's like to not have the tech, but we've grown into being tech savvy individuals. And so for us, it is one of those things where it's kind of the best of both worlds, right? I remember what it was like to not have it, but I also know, okay, this is craziness, and you as a child need to, I need to have your passwords. I need to be able to check what you're doing online. I need to see what your social medias are. I need to be able to verify that. And I think as your kids get older, maybe you can take some of the safeguard, some of that away. But I think if you allow them to have social medias at a young age, and those are the kind of safeguards you have to have in place, because you don't want your kids to end up like that child, that 11-year-old that went to go live with some man that he met on Snapchat.
Yo, I mean, first of all, I always tell people this. I know I've heard. I'm gonna just say that I've heard people say, "Oh, you need to give your kids their own privacy and this and that." Look, I'm gonna tell them like this. I tell my girls this. I'm gonna tell my young man this when he's around. Uh, if your survival is dependent upon me, there's only so much you're allowed to do. I'm gonna just say that. Another thing would be, think about when you was 50. Would you right now? I'm just asking this. Would you trust yourself when you were 15 with all the thoughts and all the things that you attempted to do? Would you trust you at 15?
So I think every child is different. Generally speaking, no, probably not. But I also feel like at 15, I was a very smart child, but I was not like socially advanced, if that makes sense. Like, I wasn't having sex. I didn't really have a boyfriend. Like we had, like I just wasn't that kid. And so I think the key to being a good parent is recognizing where your children are as far as development and being able to meet them there with things that are appropriate. I'm not saying, if your child is 16 and has no interest in sex, that maybe you shouldn't have had a talk about sex, but I think you kind of have to meet your kids where they are.
Damn, you made it through 15. I am proud of you. I feel like a heathen.
Well, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Not every kid is the same, but I'm just saying you have to know what your children are doing, right? And that's a part of parenting your kids. You have to know what they're doing. You have to find a way to connect with them so that they know, hey, it's okay for you to fuck up and make mistakes at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 25, whatever it is. But don't be afraid to call or let us know if something is wrong or something is off or something is straight with you. And I think that's a lot of what some parents are missing. They put the fear of God in their kids, and their kids are afraid to talk to them when they really need to. Like, they got their kids so afraid of making a mistake that they would rather cover it up than coming to them and be like, hey, I messed up.
See, I will say this, though. I ain't gonna lie. Like, in high school, generally speaking, against what the norm and people will say, I think I was relatively a good kid. Um, even when I did do whatever, I knew better than to do it without protection or whatever. But yeah, V got me feeling like I was just like, terrible. I was like, damn, 15, that was the first time.
Well, I mean, and I think as generations progress, those kids it's going to be different, right? Like I think we're kind of coming to the age where these kids are more sexually savvy, right? Their social intelligence, their social IQ, their emotional IQs are higher because they've been exposed to more things at a younger age. So I think the key is just making sure they have all the necessary tools to be successful. That's all you can do. Like I can't, you hope your kids aren't having sex at 14 or 15, but you also, and that would be your hope as a parent, that you're parenting them in a way that that's not something that they're thinking about or considering, but considering the landscape of what's popular and what they see and hear on a daily basis, you also need to be prepared to have a conversation with them about what being safe entails and what that looks like.
Oh man, nah, it's
Which is
actually
something you hate to have to do it, but also if you don't do it, there's no telling what somebody at school is going to tell them or what they're going to see on YouTube.
That's true, because I remember because I figured it's time to start having that discussion with my oldest, because she's in 6th grade now, and that's usually when I don't know for girls if it starts earlier, and then of course it probably depends on the kid or not, but I ain't gonna lie, I remember 7th grade we used to talk all kind of shit, like, yeah, girl, I do this, I do that. We ain't never touched it, never seen it, but we gonna talk all kind of shit just to make sure that we on par. But but then again, it's funny.
And you want her to be prepared for men who are going to say a bunch of stuff they aren't going to do and a bunch of things that she doesn't need to pay attention to or feel like she should do.
It's funny because I was thinking, I'm like, damn, shit don't change from age 14 to 34. Because I'm like, we all still talk all kind of shit all kind of stuff we not going to do. But it sounds good.
It's true. I just, listen, I do not think being a kid and the things that you go through as a child change. I think just the setting and the peripheries change, if that makes sense. I think we all have the same emotions, same thoughts. So like puberty is the same regardless. I think it's just the surrounding things that make the difference. But everyone's puberty pretty much look the same. Shit sucks.
Hey man. Hey, for all my fellas, y'all already know y'all first encounter. Oh yeah, girl, I do this, I do that. Really, come do it, huh? Excuse me. Oh, you serious? See, I would, but you
my
make
mama and them won't let me. I'm grounded.
Yeah. Oh man, see, I would, but I can't come off the front porch because my mom's tripping. You know how I do. But next time I got you. That's horrible. Hey, nowadays as we older, oh yeah, see, I would, but payday ain't until. Never mind. I ain't gonna get that. But
okay, that sounds like a dating scenario. That sounds like an awful. I want to take you out, girl, but I don't get paid for another 2 weeks, so you have to wait. I had to pay rent. All right.
I want to take you out, but I need to know how serious you are, because I got this 90-day rule that I don't pay for nothing until I figure out that we serious.
Let me take you on a walk in the park and we can pick blades of grass together.
Oh man.
Bad times out here. Bad out here. I'm telling y'all, it's bad out here.
I've heard stories.
I know it's cuffing season, and y'all need to cuff whatever the fuck y'all can cuff and cuddle up with it and be warm, because it is dire straits out here.
Hey man, only thing I gotta say for all my people out here, man, woman, etc., it don't matter. Just remember this. I remember they tell you shoot your shot, but just remember, shoot your shot, but know your range. Shaq wasn't shooting threes every game. He may have hit one, but that was 1 in a million. Don't be out here thinking that's your range now. Just saying, know what you can do.
Well, like I said, it's cover season. If a bitch get cold enough, your range might extend.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you catch people on an off night.
Listen, it's just stranger shit has happened. But listen, you better do what they say. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You better start firing them hoes up from the parking lot. You know what's good.
Hey, get your Josh Smith on.
Better toss them hoes from half court and hope for the best.
Oh man. But yeah, oh, that's another thing. Did you ever get to see the Joker movie?
I did not. We both know that I'm not a movie person, so it does not do much for me. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people have said they really enjoyed it, and others was like, this shit is mid. Y'all hyped it up, and I could have just not seen it.
Okay,
so
I'm gonna wait till you see it though. I enjoyed it.
Okay, we both know I'm not gonna go see it, so let's just go ahead and cut the shit.
No, I mean, okay. First of all, I'm gonna tell people, this whole violence thing. First of all, we've seen way more violent films. Tarantino probably accounts for about 5 of them. I'm just saying, like, I remember people were actually talking about, like, oh man, the violence in this film is going to, like, the nigga only, well, hold up, spoiler alert. Go ahead, if you haven't seen the film, go ahead, fast forward to some other point. I don't know. Just not here. But anyways, alright, that's enough time. So nigga only killed like 5 people in the whole film. And 3 of them was the niggas that was fucking with him. So he only technically committed 2 murders, if that's what we're gonna go with. But I mean, we've all seen Django Unchained, and niggas like in the beginning scene when the slave shot the slave master, and nigga exploded. So I'm just saying, there's other films that are way worse.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't know. Like, I can see that. I did not. I think people's concern maybe was just kind of in that realm of that guy. I cannot. Well, I'm not gonna.
Joaquin Phoenix.
No, the guy that shot up the movie theater in Aurora.
That dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot of it was these misplaced fears that we're gonna have another situation like that where they go see a superhero movie or a movie that's based on this type of anti-hero anarchy type thing, and they're gonna feel like this is a call to arms to go replicate that same thing. But I mean, that person was clearly unstable, and that's completely different. Which I mean, obviously, that could have you don't ever know when an unstable person is going to snap. So they could have went and shot up Lion King. And so I think it's just kind of it just incenses this fear in the public that is unnecessary.
See, I think that kind of feeds into the how can I put it? People are unpredictable. Generally, like we as much as we have all the sociology and psychology about it, a lot of that stuff is based on possibilities. So you got some people who will actually be outside of what we calculate or think. And that's why I always say, it's kind of hard to put science into people because there's so many different variables into that. So you have situations like that, and I'm like, hell, in that case, V for Vendetta, an old movie that I kind of somewhat, I enjoy it. There's all about anarchy. Why wouldn't somebody try to say we're gonna topple the government because of this film? You never know. But to say that the art form is the reasoning behind it, I think you're just looking for a scapegoat, personally. And I could be wrong. But
no, I mean, I think that's a valid point. But I think we live in an age of people who, instead of, we live in an age of people who lack accountability. A lot of times things happen, or people make bad decisions, or they do heinous things, and instead of us saying, this person, had a mental illness, which I don't want to say that people with mental illness commit crimes, or, but instead of saying, hey, this person made poor decisions and did something truly heinous or awful of their own accord because they are an awful person, the go-to is, oh, let's ban video games, let's ban movies, let's do this, let's do that, because this is making these people do these things. But no, it's not making them do anything. People have free will. They do the things that they want to do, and to blame that on an art form or something that is supposed to be make-believe is insane. Like, it does not track. The math is not math.
Hey, man, what I told somebody, I was talking to my homeboy at work. I said, look, Scarface was one of my favorite rappers growing up. Ain't not in that situation where I said, you know what, I'm finna go deal drugs, nigga. That's what I'm finna do. Because Scarface told me to do it. That ain't never happened.
But you ever notice that it's always, well, I'm gonna say this thing and y'all gonna whatever. Y'all gonna be mad, and that's okay. Be mad, please. You can direct all your ire to my Twitter. You can please, you can inbox me if you feel a certain way. It's neither here nor there. But do you ever notice that it's always, when it's white people, it's, oh, let's ban everything, but let's not blame the person for their actions.
Mm-hmm.
Especially white men.
Look, obviously, white
It's
male
almost
fragility
as if
is a lot more.
Yes, almost as if white men's egos and masculinity trumps everybody else's rights.
Who was it? I want to say it was either Godfrey or someone. He said this. Imagine if you were in a world where they told you you were great, off rip, and that doesn't equal up to reality. What does that do to the psyche? So if you're told you're good at everything, and in your life it doesn't add up to that, what does that do? I'm just saying, like, that's something, like, as much as we want to say it is mental illness, how much does society play into that? I mean,
Well,
it's
I
just
mean,
a
I
thought.
think it does play some bit of a role, right? Because I think, but I mean, I would venture to say that is the case with a lot of things, and not just white men. If you tell a group of people that they are superior, if you tell certain people that they are good at anything that they try, or that they can do anything that they put their minds to, then they feel empowered and emboldened, and when something breaks that consciousness or this idea that they can do whatever, then of course they snap. The same as we talk about kids getting participation trophies, or this whole generation of kids, oh, you're so special because you took a poop. Like, no. Sometimes it is okay to tell your kids that they're not that fucking special. Like, they're special because they're yours. But sometimes they're not good at things, and it's okay to tell your children, hey, maybe this is not your calling.
Who was it? Oh,
Keep
man.
them humble.
It was another.
Sometimes you're not good at everything. It's okay.
Hey, it was another comedian. Crap. I want to say it was Deion Cole, and I could be wrong, but he said something. He was like, "Man, look, you know what? At the end of the day, some of the art that your kid bring home is not refrigerator worthy. Like, that shit goes into a drawer somewhere to never be seen again. That's just the reality of it. Yeah, you're not good at everything. That's fine, but." And I actually think I talked to my buddy like early, like very very early in this podcast. I remember a classmate of mine. We played football and all that stuff together. We were talking about 7th grade when you had to try out for football actually, and he said they did the tryout and all that other stuff, and then all of a sudden, the next day it was like, oh man, everybody makes the team anyway because they did away with the tryouts. And he was like, man, I was looking forward to seeing people sad, knowing that I beat them. It's fucked up when you think about it, but I mean that's one of the things. If I'm competing with you, I want to win. That's just how it goes.
Well, I think it fosters a healthy spirit of competition in children, right? And I think it definitely kind of tapers their expectations, because then they realize, you know what, I may not always be the best at things, and that's okay, because there are things that I will be good at. If you want to be competitive, you obviously want to win, but giving your kids the tools to cope with the fact that they may not win every time is better than them thinking that they're God's gift to whatever, and then trying to shoot up at everybody in a 6-block radius because they didn't make whatever.
That's why y'all got problems dating now. Everybody feel like they should, just because they showed up, you should give them.
They're entitled.
You should give them a spot.
Just because you're nice, women should fall at your feet. Just because you got natural hair and you can cook, all the men should want to date you. Like, it's insane. Like, and here's the thing. I will say this again for the motherfuckers in the back, and the same thing I keep preaching on this podcast. Being a nice person is not a fucking personality trait. Like, it's not a personality. Being a nice person is not a personality. Being a nice person is the bare ass minimum. So the bar is on the floor. Basically the bar is in hell. The bar is in hell if you think you being a kind person entitles you to anything.
See, I ain't gonna lie. I would be being who I am. I was like, yeah, I can take my shirt off and I look good. So yeah, you should entertain me. Is that terrible? Is that bad?
It's raggedy and ashy, but I'm glad you grew past it.
That's fine. Did I?
Did you?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Listen, I don't know about that. That's not my business. I'm not trying to date you. So I can't, speak to that one way or the other. I'm hoping that you grew past that.
It depends on when I am in life. That's all it is. Depends on how I feel.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's
fair
fine.
enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes the ain't shit leaps out of all of us, and it's okay.
Yeah, we all got ain't shit qualities. We all know what our skill set is, right, nigga? Look, there's plenty of times you say, nigga, look, come on now. Look at me and look at where you are.
I mean, it's fine. Like, we all have our moments of ain't shitness. It is what it is, and I understand that. I have my moments of ain't shitness too.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's like
I don't like you, but I may want something from you, so I just, wear the push-up bra and the low-cut top. You stare at my titties and I get what I want. Whatever.
We've all been there. We've all
done the things we aren't proud of in our ain't shit moments.
Hey, preach. But we can't say that now in this day of 2019. You're not allowed to have ain't shit moments. You're supposed to be super altruistic, and you are to never ever do anything wrong to anybody. Period.
Oh, all right. Well,
yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know about that, but okay. That's not my business.
Speaking of that, I have learned, and well, not even gonna say I've learned. Hey, this is terrible, but I feel like I have reinforced the idea that I will never ever call law enforcement for anything I need unless it's like absolutely necessary. And I'm talking about beyond like absolutely necessary. You got to realize how they go. So, damn, man, this is kind of crazy because this is what I think the whole Amber Geiger situation in Botham Jean was like a year or two ago. I want to say it's like 2018, I believe. So now we have another situation in Fort Worth, which is near the area too, where a police officer just booked a young lady through her window. Like, that shit's insane, because I'm like, yo, first of all, if you are at your home and it's nighttime and all of a sudden you see a flashlight in your window, you are not going to adhere to whatever they got to say because you don't know who the fuck that is.
Yeah, so I guess we should back up some. So for those of you that don't know, this has been a trending topic for the past couple of days. A couple of days ago, a young lady, 28-year-old Tatiana Jefferson, was in her home in Fort Worth. Her neighbor, a gentleman who had been living in that neighborhood for quite some time, basically said it was about 2 a.m. and he got a phone call from someone, I think a daughter or a sister or someone, saying, hey, your neighbor, the one, the young lady, the lights are on in her home, but her front doors are open. And it was 2 a.m., so the guy thought that was rather unusual for her, but he knew who lived there, but I assume, he probably didn't have her number. As you with some of your neighbors, who they are, but you aren't necessarily on a phone number basis. You just know who they are, and wave and say hello and know their names. So he thought he would call the non-emergency 911 number and have somebody go over and do a wellness check. And after that, what transpired basically is
Say that one more time.
Identify himself as a police officer, anything like that, and basically just open fire on this girl.
Yeah, and that's the biggest problem. So here's the thing. Where to start on this one? I get it from his, because I mean, first of all, you don't want to just run up on somebody you don't know. So you like, hey man, just go check up on her because I don't know what's going on. If something really popping off, I'm not equipped to deal with whatever's going to happen. But I just want to make sure she's cool. And the bad thing is, like, I kind of feel sorry for dude too, because I'm like, damn, he probably in a situation like, man, if I wouldn't have just said shit, she'll be straight. We wouldn't have to worry about that. But now you got to deal with the guilt of calling these niggas thinking they finna help. And first of all, it shouldn't be that way. But then again, it's like when you start really thinking at it, it's like I get it why we don't have a no snitching policy, because if we call these dudes, we don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know what their mindset is. We don't know what they own, so on and so forth. So we have to deal with the backlash if something negative does happen, like in this particular situation. Now, from what I've gathered, is dude resigned, and then he actually was arrested on today, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's my understanding. He was going to be fired this morning. He's going to be fired anyway. because basically they were like he did not follow any protocols essentially. So
But the
they were
question,
going to fire him. They were going to fire him anyway,
the
and so then
question,
he resigned. They said he is not being cooperative with police, and then he was picked up. He was supposed to be interviewed this morning, per like the department, whatever, and then he, resigned. So they arrested him.
yeah. But here's a good question. It's like, why are the police officers like walking around the property as if they're casing the place for a raid? If it's a wellness check, wouldn't you have shown up to the front door and knocked on the door to see if anybody answers?
That would be my thought, right? If it's a wellness check, you would go to the front door. It's open, obviously, but you knock on the front door, say, police,
Announce
is
yourself.
anybody here? Announce yourself. Hey, we're coming in. Is anybody in here? Is everything okay?
That's me assuming, though. I'm not a police officer. I don't know police protocol. If you are law enforcement or have worked in it, please let me know. But that's what I would assume would be the proper course of action, is to go to the front door, which is ajar, knock on it, announce who you are, announce your purpose of being there. We're just checking up on you. Is everything fine? Not walk around as if we about to do a drug bust. But never mind, we go and continue.
Well, I mean, but I think that's the thing, right? And I think with him being an older gentleman, like you and I discussed off the podcast, I think there's a disconnect there, right? I think older people still want to believe that you can call the police for certain things when you're in danger or whatever, and that that it will turn out okay. I do not, and I think and I will say this, just a side note, for those of you who were talking shit about that man and saying that he should have known better and this, that, and the third, what else is he supposed to do? When you look at the grand scheme of the way police officers treat people, he does not, I mean, he knows this woman, but he does not know her. So let's say she was being robbed or somebody was murdering her. Does he go over there and also get murdered?
Yeah. I mean,
does he go over there as a black man in America at 2 a.m. and walk into her open doors for someone to see him and then call the regular police and not the non-emergency line and be like, hey, there's some black man breaking into people's houses at 2 a.m.
Exactly. Not even just that. It's just if you go over there and creep her out because she's unaware that her front door is open, and you go in and all of a sudden she obviously they did the research and found out that she was on. All of a sudden he gets bucked because she thought he was breaking in. There's a lot of different things that plays into this. The problem is not what he did. The problem is that your local law enforcement, first of all, the non-emergency line, your local law enforcement does not have the proper protocol in order to deal with the individuals they service. That's what it boils down to.
And I agree. I do not know that they are being trained, especially to deal. I think a lot of times they are being trained to just shoot and be afraid of everyone or their preconceived notions of whatever, instead of them being trained to de-escalate situations whenever possible. I don't understand why they have this shoot first, ask questions later mentality. And and maybe it is just because we're in an age of social media that we see or hear about it more, and the other ones have been covered up or not made the news cycle. Or if it, I don't know. I can't rightfully tell you if it's happening more or less than it did when we were children or when we were younger, but it seems that there's this whole generation of law enforcement or people in law enforcement where the main priority is not de-escalation and service to their community. It's let me just shoot a bunch of people and be on a superiority complex.
See, I think also that so many officers are afraid that they're just willing to take a life to maintain theirs, which I think kind of goes against the whole protect and serve. I mean, I get it. I know people will be like, well, they're officers. They want to live too. I say, I understand. I do get that. But let's also, I'm sure, here's another thing. You want to live. That's understandable. But you also got to understand what you're getting into. You will potentially deal with the worst people. That's just a reality of the situation. Shoot first, ask questions later is not an option in law enforcement. I get it. People want to say otherwise. If that's your mindset, leave. Because eventually there's a point where you will actually become more of an issue than the criminals on the street, or you'll be just an additional issue to them.
Right, and my whole thing is you're not dealing with criminals, right? And I get it, but I do know, and I get that, sometimes you don't know the difference, you don't know what you're walking into, but you're supposed to be trained to know the difference and be able to distinguish between an immediate threat and someone who needs help. But we see it all over the country. Remember when in Florida where they shot the guy who was a caregiver to like he was a caregiver to what was he, an autistic man?
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey, he's nonverbal. He's not gonna respond to you." And they shot him in the leg when he was like, "Hey, I'm just trying to get him out the street and take care of him."
Yeah. There was that. There was a situation where a lady's, I think he was mentally challenged, and he was in a manic situation, and he was just running around with a bat, so on and so forth, and the officer shot him to death. And it's like they're not trained to deal with all aspects of society. They're not trained to deal with the mentally disabled. They're not trained to deal with persons of different cultures or different races or whatever. They're not properly trained to deal with these people. So anytime they're unaware of them, there's always going to be a perceived threat, which means they already got their gun on their hip. I mean, their hand on their hip, waiting for an opportunity.
Because and I think, in addition to that, I mean, cut you off. Sorry, but in addition to that, I think a lot of times we disproportionately have white officers in law enforcement, and then they are serving communities where they are in the minority, and they may not know any black people or brown people or people of color or people of different religions or whatever outside of these communities that they're supposed to be serving and protecting. So to them, because in their everyday life they view these people a certain way, they don't look at it as them protecting this community of people. They don't view them as people who deserve protection.
That's possible.
So everyone's a criminal. Everyone's a potential suspect. Everyone's a potential drug dealer. Everyone's somebody you should have your gun out instead of your mace or taser or whatever. It's like, how can you be afraid of the people that you are supposed to be protecting? But that disproportionately is the case. These people are police officers in counties and in communities where they don't live, where they don't spend any time, where they don't get to know these people. And then we wonder why there's such a disconnect and why they're so quick to pull out a gun and shoot everybody.
I mean, it's a lot of valid questions. Because that needs to be addressed at some point in time. Because obviously we dealt with this since what? I can't even remember. At least 10 years, I would say that. But it's some of those things that need to actually be addressed and actually look into what the protocol is and how can it be corrected. Because nobody, this is, like I said, this is the second time in the last year or so where someone is just innocent and they're in their own crib and they get bugged. So, man.
We just got to do better, man. And I just, well, not us, but police officers need to be trained better. I don't know what it's going to take for them to really start to see that, hey, like you can't. And here's the thing. I think it would also go a long way if they would, if they always talk about the blue wall of silence. And it would go a long way if these police officers that swear that they're, not everybody's a bad police officer, not everybody, is racist. It would go a long way for them to come out and condone these things and be like, hey, they are doing a disservice. I'm a police officer. I'm proud to be a police officer. I'm proud of the communities that I serve. I'm proud that I'm able to protect these people. And people like this make it hard for us to be in these communities because they aren't doing what they're supposed to do. And what they did was wrong. If they would just come out and say, hey, the shit that they did was wrong. We weren't trained that way. That's not how we operate. It would go a long way to repairing the way the communities view police officers.
You know what? I actually got a question on that. Because I will ask this. If that is the case, if you want to say there are quote-unquote good police officers, so on and so forth, then how come guilty by association exists?
Well, it only exists when we're not talking about police officers, right? Like, they like to, because on the other end, there's RICO statutes, or, there's in some states, there's laws on the book where basically you could be seen with the gang member, and that basically gives you a gang affiliation, even though you've never been arrested for any type of gang activity, drugs, guns, anything. You could have a completely clean record, and because your brother is a gang member and he gave you a ride to the store 3 years ago, now they got some surveillance on you, and now you're known as a known gang affiliation.
Exactly. So how?
But but it only works. But it only works for civilians, right? Like you can't be. It's not guilty by association with cops, right? We're supposed to just take their word that none of the rest of them are fucked up.
It's one of those double standards in life. Okay, I feel that. That's a fair question, because I'm like, if we as regular citizens can be arrested for guilty by association and even potentially charged, even though you don't know nothing, then how come an officer can say all cops aren't bad and it be truthful? I mean, that's all I would ask. I mean, I would just leave it there. Y'all, you can answer how you feel. If you are an officer, please answer that question. That's how I look at it. Because if what's good for one should be good for the other. I would assume.
Right. I mean, if you have any comments or you want to answer that question for us, you can, of course, tweet us at the show's Twitter, either one of our Twitters, or just drop a comment in the comments below. But we love to hear from you. But I mean, I think it's a valid question. If it applies one way, why does it not apply the other way?
All right, but I'm gonna end it on a good note. We're gonna deal with that situation. Of course, also, update. Amber got 10 years, and I know people aren't happy about it, but I guess it's little victories in life. I understand that she could have potentially gotten more because people have gotten more throughout life, but I don't think riding would be the best option in this case. But you know what? Hey, you do what you want.
I think we have to take the victory as it is. Do I love it? Do I I mean, truth be told, we both know she's done a year in jail. She'll probably be out in 4. She's gonna do 4 more years. She'll be eligible for parole. She'll be 5 years. She'll be out in 5. So she's done 1. She'll get 4 more. She'll be out in about 5 years. So I mean, do we feel like justice was really served? No, but I feel like it is a small step in the right direction in holding these officers accountable for their bullshit.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's my thoughts on it. It's like, look, I get it, I understand, but don't give people a reason on why they should start being more lenient on these people when you're saying, "Oh, that's not enough." Fine, okay. You know what? We'll take this L. It's an L and a dub in the same sense. Sure, she could have got 20, for sure. You know what? We'll take whatever we can, move into the next situation, and we'll try to work it out from there. But also, I'll tell people, look, she's not on trial for every last atrocity that has happened to us. That within itself is not fair legally. I know we don't like to hear that, but that's the reality. So I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I agree. I think that we kind of, I mean, it's not what we wanted. But at the end of the day, considering that a lot of them are walking the streets free to go work at other, go get jobs at other places. They just resigned from the place they're at, move and go work a town over. Like, we should just be glad. And at the end of the day, Sis is a convicted murderer. So she might do 5 years. She gets out. That's not getting expunged. She's a convicted murderer.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough because they know who she is. They like,
you out here murdering folks. Exactly. So sometimes you just have to appreciate it for what it is. Long term, she might be in jail 5 years, but that murder rap gonna be with her forever. So we're gonna have to take it for what it is and move forward and hope. And God forbid it happens to somebody else because they really like to shoot us for some reason. Hey. But we can only hope that the next one ends up in jail with her ass.
You know what? With this being said, and I know people will probably disagree with it because, you got them 2 woke folks out here. But hopefully this actually causes more of us to get involved either politically, lawfully, law enforcement, whatever. Because I think that's also an issue is when you don't have certain people available to police you, you can't really, I ain't gonna say you can't be mad, but it's, the resources aren't available to assist with the situation.
I don't want to be a cop. Don't nobody I know want to be a cop. So
I personally don't want
to. I get it. I get what you're saying. I mean, and I get what you're saying. Like, there definitely should be more people who want to be police officers. But in the climate where when they're picking each other, because look at it. black people that are cops, we look at them and we're already immediately suspicious. Like, look at this Uncle Tom ass.
That is true. I ain't gonna lie.
So I mean, it's one of those things where we're telling black people they should be more involved in their communities. They should, become police officers. They should become politicians. But what happens is when you have to play the game and get along to get along, somehow your values get lost in the shuffle. And you hate to say that. I'm not saying it's everybody, but a lot of times that is just the case. If you're, one of 4 black faces in your entire department, and you're just trying not to lose your job or have these people on your ass all the time, sometimes it's hard to be like, hey, maybe the black people alone. And you just don't know. And so I get that sometimes these people are having to deal with being harassed and mistreated at work, and then also getting it from the people in the communities because they're like, look at this raggedy motherfucker. Like, why would he want to be a police officer? Ugh. All of them are killers. And it's shitty. So I'm just saying it's a catch-22, right? You can't win for losing sometimes.
You know what? I get that, but I was just say this. This is just me speaking to all of us. Look, I understand. I understand your anxiety about it. If you are a person who even thought about you, like I ain't about that life, I understand too. But I mean, it's in the other, overall. Then I will ask, what are your solutions? What would you say we need to do? And I know some people be like, oh, we just need to have our own community. Even if that case, you're gonna need people with law enforcement, law, etc. Because if you're talking about trying to be a sovereign community, you're gonna have to have lawyers to be able to pick that shit for you. You're gonna have to have people to defend your borders, so on and so forth. A lot of people talk about that stuff and don't even really know what all comes with that. And so half of those people I kind of ignore because I'm like, you don't even know what you're talking about, dog. It's like you're speaking in a vacuum and you don't really know what will really be required of you. But
I mean, I think the key, like I said, I think the key is definitely building better relations with the people that are policing these communities and finding ways to build trust. And I mean, granted, I've heard some horrible ideas, like the cops that were randomly pulling people over for being good drivers and then giving them like gift cards or whatever. Like that shit's crazy. Don't pull me over.
That's terrible. Like
you're gonna scare the shit out of me. And when I realize you're gonna give me a gift card, I'm probably just gonna drive off.
Because
so I'm just saying we need to find better ways to interact with each other and build trust.
Anytime you see those lights, you like fuck, and you look down and see how fast you're going.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's everyone. So I think So I think it's finding meaningful, thoughtful ways to engage the communities in which these people work and finding ways to repair those relationships so that they feel like, okay, I know if I call officer such and such comes or these officers, making themselves known to the people in these communities and, being there when it's, non-emergencies to get to know the environment that they're in so they know that, hey, if such and such call, it really is something. Or, this person, is kind of a hypochondriac and they're probably saying they, are having a heart attack, but it's probably just acid reflux, but we're going to go check on them anyway. And I think that's what, and I know that sounds stupid, but I think that's what's missing. This like sense of community, but it also including the people that are serving and protecting you in this community so that you know them, they know you, and they get to know these people so they aren't trying to pull the gun out before the car's even in park, try to shoot a bunch of people that they don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's like I told you the other day. We were talking, and I was like, man, it seems like they pretty much thugging out here like everybody else. Shoot, they ready to pull the burner on anybody who asks for it. I'm just saying, like that's how it comes off. It's like, okay, these niggas they ain't ready for anything. Hey, hear me calling white folks. You realize we call everybody niggas regardless of what they are.
Well, if you're a nigga, niggas gonna nig. So if you be doing nigga stuff, you just get called nigga, I guess. That's where we're at with that. But hi, 3 white people that listen to the podcast, don't call anybody nigga, okay?
Yes, please don't. I don't want to be the reason that you got stomped out at work or in your amongst your friends.
I don't care that your one black friend told you that it was okay. Just don't do that, please. Don't. This is not an invitation for you to say the N-word. Thanks so much.
First of all, if you are a white person and your black buddy told you that's okay, unfriend that guy because he set you up for failure. That's all I would say.
All right, let's move on to something slightly lighter, but a little bit not super lighter, but slightly lighter.
All right, how about these trash ass Cowboys
there's
out here?
This clip photo. Well, I don't think my dad and mom want to hear that, but so apparently the Cowboys lost this past weekend, and that has just been the talk of the town, and everyone's saying that Jason Garrett is at the end of his rope and is going to get fired, but it looks like from Cowboys camp and from Jerry Jones that is not the case, and that they are not looking to replace him nor fire him.
See, I'm looking at it like this: the Cowboys. We'll paint a scenario for you. Cowboys lost to a quarterback who didn't learn he's not supposed to kiss him in the mouth right now. I'm just saying, like, the dude was out. It's kind of fucked up. I know, this is terrible. But the dude was out for mono for like 3 weeks. Come on, man. Obviously, he makes bad decisions. And you let him beat you.
I do not know. I think the Cowboys are right. I think that Jason Garrett has not really brought anything fresh and original from an offensive standpoint. And it's just kind of starting to look like, and I think when you are replacing offensive coordinators, replacing defensive coordinators, paying people, saying these are the pieces you need in place to win, and you're still not able to win, it becomes an issue. And so at some point you do kind of have to look at the head coach and be like, okay, is this the piece? And I think that people are pointing to, I guess, a clip of Jason Garrett trying to get high fives from people coming off the field. They just kind of like, nah, G.
Yo.
And so, I mean, if you look at that clip and if it's indicative of the locker room mentality, then I think it's going to be very hard to keep him there if the players are unhappy with the coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you cannot lead your locker room, people do not believe in the plays or the playbook that you have set forth, they don't believe in your coaching ability, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to win with that.
Yo, I just watched it again. This dude looked like his feelings was super hurt. I don't know if it was his defense. He's like, oh yeah, man, high five, guys, y'all do it. And they just kind of just walk by him. That right there tells you where you are with your organization. And I swear, Jason Garrett got something on somebody. He either got something on Jerry Jones, his son, or somebody. To where he like, nah, you gonna keep me here because I seen what you did, and they just rolling with it.
Maybe
I guess
maybe he was getting those love me long times like Robert Kraft.
Would we put it past Jerry Jones if that were the case, or his son? Right, let's just
I don't put it past nobody. I'm just saying that I agree with you. I don't see the purpose in keeping Jason Garrett on, but they just seem to really like having him there to the ire of everybody else.
And I said it last year because I think they eventually made the playoffs last year, and I said that's not gonna work because the fact that he made the playoffs is gonna give him a whole another year to mess up, and he gonna just do nothing but waste all y'all time. But hey, do your thing. But then again, you know what? To be honest, I can't say much. I'm a Titans fan, and we got beat by who the hell was that? Joe Flacco in Denver. So I can't say too much. So you know what?
Ew.
Yeah, it was so bad. My homeboy at work was like, "Hey man, you know what? I'm gonna give you another opportunity. Go ahead, come join the Texans." And I was like, the Texans always been my second squad, but I got to stay true to Tennessee because they were the first Houston team. But it is what it is. It's terrible. Like we're like 2-4 and awful. So I'm just looking forward to next season already. Ryan Tannehill got in the game, so that's how I knew we were done.
All right, well let's move past the football and our ire for the Cowboys to something much more frivolous. But rooted in some truth. So there was a clip floating around on the social. We like to give y'all a bit of a splash of social media, a little splash and dash. So there was a clip floating around of Kim Kardashian West and her husband Kanye West, or Kanye West and his wife Kim Kardashian West, however you want to put that or address that. So essentially, he is talking to her about wearing a, I guess, very tight or short revealing dress. And something to the effect that he said, because I'm paraphrasing, he says, you're my wife and I feel uncomfortable with you being dressed like that. And she retorts, basically that that's ridiculous. And wanted me to dress a certain way. You curated my closet and my outfits. And now because you're on some type of spiritual journey or whatever, you want me to be on the same journey as you, and that's not fair.
I mean, hey bro, how you found her or how you found him that's what you got to deal with. That's and I know that's gonna get a lot of backlash, but I mean that's just the reality of it. Though. It's like, look, if you found her and this is what she was about. Personally, I always think the Kardashians are like the least talented people, and for some reason they just keep winning. So I can't even hate on that, but I'm like, how? And it's also bad that when Kim drops a new nude, people are just like, alright, cool. I get to it when I can. So I'm just saying, like,
ooh, okay. Well, let me download that for. I'll read. It's like a book you get on your Kindle for 99 cents. And it's just
bookmark
like it's like a free download for like a holiday or something. Like, oh, we're running a special deal. Get these books for free. To download like 6 free books on your Kindle, and then you don't read them for like a year. It's like that at this point.
It's so bad that seeing her nude is nothing. Like it's a bookmark. It's like I'll come back to that one.
Right, which I thought was hilarious. Right, remember when Bette Midler tweeted and she was like, "If Kim Kardashian wants to show us something new, she's gonna have to swallow the camera."
She got to do something. I'm just saying.
So I mean, I think that and people were pretty pissed off about that, but I mean, it felt accurate. But I did have a question for you regarding that. Do you think that if you marry a person or a person is your wife or husband, there's an expectation that they should behave differently or dress differently?
You know what? I think there is that idea going in. Now, is that match a reality? That's a whole other question. But I do think that when people marry others, that they want to covet whatever that person has. So it's like for instance, if you got married tomorrow, there's an idea that your husband be like, okay, you ain't gonna post nudes or super revealing stuff from here on out because you should be maintaining that for me and vice versa. Like, you shouldn't be, he shouldn't be doing, eggplant pics, in like some, some shit. What did graduation boxes? But like some boxer briefs or some shit like that. Showing, and I do believe that when you get married or get in a long-term committed relationship with somebody, that there's this idea that that's going to happen. But then again, the question is like, if that's that person's bread and butter, and that's how people know them, you might have to check those realities up. Because I mean, because now you're basically talking about them stopping their whole revenue stream if that's how they get by.
Which I always thought was interesting, right? Like people who date strippers and then have an issue with them being strippers, or they date porn stars and have an issue with them being porn stars. I do not think. So I will say this. But I've always found it very interesting that there's a double standard there, right? People can say yes, no, maybe, whatever. I think that there's a bit of a double standard there because I think that with men, like if I get married tomorrow. Like, I don't have an expectation, there's not a men equivalent unless you're, like, showing your dick to people in your instant messages. Like, there's not really a male equivalent. You know what I mean?
Like, well, I think that also feeds into because women, how can I put it? Women don't make it as vocal about them lusting after a man in the comment section similar to men. So, like, if a dude posts kind of like a semi-nude picture, it may get some likes, but if you were to do it in the opposite, dude's gonna be flooding that page. So it comes off a little. I mean, I get it. It is a double standard, but I kind of understand why the double standard exists. If that makes sense.
I mean, I get it, but we've created this double standard, right? Like, I think that it's one of those things where, I mean, and this is going to sound super psychological or whatever, but we've all, I'm not say all, but I mean, majority of us have heard or kind of have an inkling what the Madonna whore complex is, right? And so I think that plays into it. So for those of you who don't know, essentially Madonna whore complex is this idea that we put, or that men put women, that they view a certain way on a pedestal. So the expectation is that they aren't overly sexual or, you know, sexy or overtly sexual or any of those things. And so they expect this almost virginal kind of persona from this person. And so they place that on a pedestal. And if that's broken, then they no longer want this person. But it's okay for them to have a mistress or a side chick. And the idea is for that person to be overtly sexual in the ways that they do not want to be with their wife or life partner.
Yeah. See, I can't fathom that. I never understood that whole situation. But I would say this. It boils down to trust. And honestly, just to keep it funky, men don't trust women like that. Because let's just keep it real. The women who are out there like that are great at keeping that shit under wraps. Like, there's been situations where people have heard, like, they Big Mama, which is, grandma for people who aren't from the South, had a whole relationship with some cat, and they granddaddy never knew. But nobody found out until after she died or some shit. But your granddaddy, you found out about that shit day one, because first of all, we're not good at keeping secrets as dudes because our ego get in the way, and then all of a sudden, our whole stuff get blown up. But anyways, and I think what happens is guys will meet certain people in a certain way, certain women in certain positions, and we think that since we inserted ourselves into that, things should change. So it's kind of plays into the arrogance of us to an extent, where it's like, but then again, I think everybody feels that way. It's like, lady, the woman who will have a baby with a known hole throughout the community. Like, he out here like that, but you think your baby gonna change everything. And I think I'm just saying it, but so I think that's the equivalent to an extent that, since I'm the one hitting now, therefore she should be on the up and up. And she should be dressing like she, going to church every, 4 days a week. And that's not always the case.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's realistic, right? I mean, I don't even know that it's, this is how you met me. But I think it's one of those things where I've always said, like, you having these expectations of a person to behave a certain way or act a certain way or expecting them to change who they are because you married them or in a relationship with them is ridiculous and unrealistic, right? I feel like you can expect a person to be respectful of you, but if they're not disrespecting you, then it seems ridiculous for you. Like Kim Kardashian, like for instance, it's going back to the original discussion. In Kim Kardashian West, for her, obviously we know who she is because she used to be a closet organizer for Paris Hilton, and then she had a sex tape with Ray J. So obviously she got famous off a sex tape and being this sexy person and being out or whatever. But when she got with Kanye, it was widely publicized that he was trying to reinvent himself as a designer, and so he was the one styling her. So for all of these years since they have been together, he has been the one putting her in these outfits.
Oh, well, I mean, that's fault of his own too.
You see what I'm saying? So I think that made it even more ludicrous because it's like if you get with the person, they're like, your style, your aesthetic, I don't like the way you dress. And or they're like, why don't you, wear some heels every once in a while? Or I don't know, why don't you, wear a sexy dress when we go out to dinner or something like that? And then you do it. And then 2 years later, because now you're a mom or whatever, you're expected to not be sexy or not dress sexy or not feel sexy or not show your body. And it's like, you cannot put a person out there to essentially pimp your wife out to get people to buy your clothing line and then decide because she's had children now all of a sudden she doesn't deserve to wear a dress that she likes that makes her feel good, but she's popped 4 of your kids out of her vagina.
Yeah. See, and I guess that's the whole thing of what does it mean to be, because I think people are going to find whatever they find disrespectful regardless. If my old lady were to do a whole full nude for some reason, just pop it out there, I'm going to have problems with it. Just like I think if I did something similar, she may have some issues with me. And so I guess it just depends on how you know your partner, what's the parameters. So with Kanye, though, I'm like, you kind of being a hypocrite because you fed on the idea of her being out there like that. And now that it doesn't fit what you're trying to do, now you're trying to hurry up and change all that. But then again, I also look at it as she was like that prior. She was like that when you met her. That's what was her bread and butter. Only reason people knew Kim Kardashian was because of the sex tape. Let's keep it real. That's the only reason people knew who she was. Other than that, she was known as the dude. Oh yeah, that's the lawyer that defended OJ. That's his daughter, right? That's it. That's all we knew.
Right. So, I mean, I think there's something to be said for that. I mean, even if we apply that to regular people, like if you're in a relationship with somebody, you knew who that person was when you got with them. So is it really fair for you to be like, you know what, the person that you are and the things that you do don't really suit what I want to have going on right now. They don't suit the growth and the energy that I'm about at this phase in my life. So I need you to change your complete personality, or I need you to change your wardrobe and how you behave to fit this place in my life that I am now at.
No, that means
the average person would just look at you like you were crazy. All bullshit aside, them being famous aside, all of that aside, there's no way that you could come to a person that you have been with for X amount of years and be like, you know what? I just need you to be a different person now.
Yeah. But that boils down to you should know what you're getting into before you sign up for it.
You know what happens when somebody, starts to go on a journey of growth in a relationship and the other person is not on the journey of growth? They get a divorce. They get a divorce. Exactly. So I'm just saying, you cannot go into a relationship. People compromise. I'm not saying you shouldn't compromise. I'm not saying that there's not a happy medium that everybody can be at, but you cannot go into a relationship with a person being one way and then decide that you want to do something different and that person does not fit what you want to do. So now all of a sudden they have to be a different person. That is selfish and unfair, and I would never ask that of anybody.
Yeah, but we do it all the time. That's why people will say, "Oh, we've grown past each other." Nah, what happened is you went on a journey and you left her behind or you left him behind, and then therefore they didn't fit into the mold that you wanted or saw for yourself in the future, and that's the reality.
Exactly. And that's the reality, and it does happen. But I think people do this thing where they like to pretend like they aren't shallow, that they aren't selfish. And the truth is that a lot of times we are selfish in relationships. And sometimes we are looking out for our best interest instead of the interest of us or our family unit. And it's shitty to say, but it's human nature.
I've told people this before, and people fought me on it. I said we are all shallow at the end of the day. I can't remember who was that. Somebody was like, "Oh man, shallow greater than such." I said, "No, we are all shallow because we've all turned down somebody because of some small, minute detail. They weren't big. They were the wrong size. They weren't tall enough. We weren't compatible sexually. Oh man, she don't like sports. He don't like sports. They don't like talking intellectually. So on and so forth. The list goes on. So to say that that you're going to drop somebody because of some small, minute detail, we all have done it. I'm just saying, there's plenty of people I know I done left on the table because I was just like, nah, that don't fit what I want.
I mean, and that's fair, and you're within your rights. But I do not think you get to then decide that this person, try to fit a square peg in a round hole. So you want this person, you're just hell bent on getting the square peg in the hole. So you're telling this person, hey, shave down your edges so you'll fit in this round hole.
Exactly. And
that's insane, and it's unfair.
It is. I mean, now that's a discussion. You can talk about it, but at the end of the day,
I'm just saying, like with my ex-husband, like I had dresses that he like at the knee. That's too short. Okay, that's fine that you think that's too short. But I also purchased it with my money, and you aren't the one supplementing my wardrobe. So guess who's gonna still wear this dress?
And you know what? And I mean, I've been in that situation. I feel like this. If my old lady were to wear something like that, I ain't tripping. But if you get out here like super thirsty, I'm gonna have issues with that because sometimes some people, I'm gonna go into this. There are more people who have a hard time dealing with attention than those who never got it. So you got people who are like they need attention so bad that they're gonna do any and everything for it. And so some people only wear those things because it gets them what they want. And can I live with that? overall as like someone's husband or boyfriend or whatever, I'm like, nah, I'm cool because obviously you got some other issues you need to deal with. If
But I
that's
think
how
there's
you
a
act.
difference between attention-seeking behavior and me. Like, if there's a vast difference between us going out or something, or like when we go out to a, like for instance, I don't ever really go out for like New Year's or anything like that. So I
Yeah,
think there's a vast difference between me dressing up and wearing some sparkly short dress to be with you as my
yeah,
date for
and
New Year's and feeling sexy and maybe getting more attention than I'm used to getting. Everybody like, oh, you look really nice, you look really gorgeous, and that you look really sexy, and being like, okay, this is nice. Than me going to the New Year's party in some sparkly pasties over my nipples and a G string and a mesh skirt.
you talk about the little Kim dress or outfit.
Right, but I'm just saying
Yeah,
there's a vast difference between you coming out and doing something completely out of character and crazy as far as your behavior, and you just, wanting to feel sexy for a night.
yeah.
And I think what your partner should understand that feeling and that wanting to feel nice or beautiful or whatever that feeling is, or powerful or empowered.
I think I agree. I can't disagree with that. I think the only thing that messes dudes up is that we know when it comes to potential attention that women are going to address it different ways. Because here's the one thing I can say is that women are great at keeping that shit under wraps. Now, I've kind of kept my antennas up, but usually they talk amongst each other about, ooh, yeah, girl, you see him, blah, 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 blah. So you don't really get to hear about it versus dudes. Dudes are super, super disrespectful. And they'll roll up on you, and all of a sudden now you got to test your manhood at the moment. So I think some guys, and like I said, I can't speak on Kanye in this moment, but I think some guys out in public think about that. And like, damn, I'm at to fight this nigga or end up in jail because I know if I lose. But then again, if I lose a fight in front of that, I mean the relationship's over. So I mean, I don't know, man. It's true though. Like if I lose a fight in front of my old lady, that's a wrap on the relationship because
No, I mean, and that makes sense. But I think some of it is insecurity, and some of it come from a place of I think she looks gorgeous, in this outfit, in this dress, with her hair done and her makeup done. So I know other men are also going to find her attractive, and now I have to kind of be on high alert because I know how men can be.
yeah, and I think that's where it boils down to. And I mean, me personally, I don't give a shit because I dare somebody to try. But overall, I'm like, hey man, look, if you feel good, that makes you feel good at the end of the night, and therefore I get rewarded. That's how I look at it.
And I think that's the best way to look at it. What else you got?
Oh man, I think that's we kind of run over because we had a lot of shit to talk about, but we're gonna save some for next time. But other than that, I mean, socials, what you got?
Well, it's me. It's VJ. You can catch me on the socials, Twitters, and the IGs. It is at VJ_Burton. On Snapchat is McB. I want to thank you all for, again, not posting your penises. I think maybe because I told you last time that it's illegal to send me your dicks. So some of y'all have been kind enough to stop doing that. So
It's illegal
praise God.
shit. I need to stop sending it
Praise
to
God. I think y'all don't want to go to jail. So smart on you.
damn. I need to stop sending my old lady for she report my ass.
She gonna call all the people. My husband sent me his dick and I didn't like it.
I don't know. Would they hang up on her or would they try to roll up on me? Never mind. But
a conundrum. It's a conundrum. Well, we'll cover that next show. Show has a Twitter. It is at Chopping It Up Pod. No G on Chopping. You can check us out there. I'm gonna try to tweet more from the show's account. Please add us, tweet us, talk to us. We really enjoy hearing from you. Where can the people find you?
all right, so y'all already know I've been kind of doing my whole social media. How could I put it? Damn, I guess fast. Is that a proper term? But I still do answer people. Like if you hit me up directly, I still got you. Y'all hit me up. I will answer anything. Talk to y'all. It is what it is. I'm a social butterfly for the most part. So yeah. That is what underscore Q_D_great, and then I also have a Facebook, which is just my name, Quentin Simpson, and then it's the first one is actually the same for Instagram as well as Twitter. And also make sure to follow the X Squad affiliates or X Squad in general. Please also go ahead and make sure to check out a couple of those shows on there. They have a lot of good podcasts. You got some people who are DJs, good mixes for you and everything like that. So if you're just looking for, something to put into your ears, it's a little ear porn for you while you're at work or whatever, then go ahead, check these folks out, man. You won't be disappointed. At least that's what I would tell you. Anything else? Any other announcements that we missed or anything we need to let folks know?
Any church announcements that I can think of? Let me see. I don't think I have any church announcements. If we missed any birthdays, we are so sorry. I want to say who had a birthday? Danny from Danny, formerly of Danny, but also of Future Film. Shout out to him. He was at Pod Connections. Danny comes through the shows kind of everywhere. He's a beast with the camera. So shout out to him. I also wanted to highlight if you know BJ from Change Subject Podcast, girlfriend Dion. She is a photographer as well, and she took pictures all weekend. She's also a beast with the camera. So kudos to them. They were super amazing this weekend, and I just wanted to highlight them. And again, happy birthday, Danny. I do not think there's anything else. Quentin's having a baby again, so if you would like to donate to we Cash App, PayPal, babies are expensive. You know how that goes. We're not saying he's poor and broken that we're begging, but also we like it.
You goddamn right. Hey, man, gift cards, all that shit. Diapers is expensive as shit. For some reason.
For some reason, they just make it really expensive for you to feed and clothe your baby. So,
yeah. Man, they try. Man, look, I got a whole discussion on that next time. But, other than that, man, I do appreciate we're going to actually start bringing a little bit more guests on, too. I got a few scheduled in the upcoming weeks. But if you are someone who's looking at either getting the podcast or you just want to chop it up with us for a moment, hey, hit us up. We see if we can get you on. I'm always up for guests. I'm always up having discussions with people about various topics, other than that,
we'd love to have you.
Yeah,
come be on the show.
Yeah, I mean no harm. Just remember that.
We don't bite, not hard anyway, and only if you tell us you like it.
There you go. But I mean, other than that, man,
consent is sexy.
Hey, man. Other than that, we appreciate it. All the support we have gotten, all the listeners we have gotten, new listeners, old listeners. You already know who you are.
Yep.
People who've been rocking with us from the get go, man. We appreciate everything. But other than that, we up out.
Laters.